What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Z-Man Show. We are talking Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3. Boom! Holy crap, guys.
Wow.
What sweet, like I said in my little notes, sweet baby Jesus, what just happened?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Dustin,
I don't even know. Like, my head's still spinning.
I mean,
I don't know what's happening.
We had a lot of things going on here, and I want to welcome everybody back. Looks like we got somebody here speaking Spanish. Apologies, guys. My Spanish is very no bueno. But welcome
no bueno
to the show,
here as well.
What would you say? So welcome to the show. Here we are. We're ready to start talking the episode. I don't want to waste any time except for mind blown. I mean, like Dustin said, Beric got some crazy things going on here. So we're going to talk about the episode and just a lot of the main events that went down. We lost some awesome friends today. I can't say it's
not as many as I expected.
Not as many as we expected, but I guess considering where the actual show went, and because we did not expect this. So again, spoiler alert, big time. We are getting into all the nitty-gritty. If you have not watched it yet, stop the video. Don't watch, please, unless you don't care about spoilers, because we're getting into all of it. So here's your chance on a 3, 2, 1. All right, Dustin. So I gotta admit, I love the beginning of this episode. We got Sam walking around like a scared child. You could just tell him he's shaking. He's looking around. Tyrion with that face. I mean, we've seen some serious faces of Tyrion, but tell me, wasn't that a serious ass face we were seeing?
Yeah, man. I thought it was a good transition from the last episode, but you kind of got that calm before the storm. But this was more of kind of that stillness before the battle comes, you know?
Yeah. And so it was the still, right? And we had all these shots of all around the Winterfell, and just all the warriors and their defense systems, and I'm just like, I'm watching it all go down, and I've seen a lot of battle tactics in the past, with a lot of different movies. I know you have as well. And we talked about with the armies right outside the gates, because obviously if you let them get to the gates, they're gonna storm the walls, and it's gonna be lights out. So unfortunately, you have to sacrifice your warriors on the outside. So what we saw, if I'm not mistaken, we saw what looked to be the gates, and then some trench work with dragon glass and maybe some other wooden spears and so forth. And then we had the Unsullied, it looked like. And then outside of the Unsullied, on the front lines, were the Dothraki.
Yep.
Right. And then it looked like on the left and right flanks, it looked like more Northmen and company. Right?
Yep.
So, we're getting ready. You could cut the tension with a knife. I mean, just, snap.
Very uneasy calm.
Very uneasy. And then who comes out of the shadows? Just coming from the direction of the undead?
Right. Like, how did that happen? Like, where did she come from?
That's what I want to know. And, I mean, and by the way, she just kind of rode in on her white horse and this and that, but it's kind of like, okay, so she's the thing. And I got to be honest, I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, why do I feel like her story's not completed,
Oh, yeah. I definitely expected her to come back at some point, but I thought maybe she would be bringing back some forces from Bravos or somewhere across the sea. Didn't expect her to just come back by herself and stroll into Winterfell.
It sure as hell would have been nice, because let's face it, I mean, what they're about to be attacked with, which I'm not shaking. I should be shaking. I think I'm just, I feel my heart racing, because I'm just like, I keep having these pictures of what just went down. And so Davos charges down, ready pretty much to slice her down, which I was wondering myself, did he know that she, pretty much she didn't force, was it Stannis? To burn his daughter, but anyways, he goes down there ready to strike her down, and she says, "You don't have to do it. I'll be dead by morning." Meaning she knows her path and where she's going, but you could tell he wanted her nothing but dead. So clearly he knew. He found out.
Oh yeah. Oh, he knows. Yeah. He knew that she killed Shireen.
Now, go ahead.
So here was the crazy part for me, was that initial charge. Right. She lights all the Dothraki swords on fire.
Yes. Let's talk.
Which was
that.
like what?
Okay, so I mean, she's connected to the Lord of Light, so it made perfect sense that she did some kind of enchantment, and pretty much, she's kind of like a sorceress in some ways, maybe not full on, but enough.
Yeah.
And she gets all her swords on fire, which, by the way, was an amazing scene.
Oh, and it helped me see what was happening too. So praise be to her for that, because it was pretty dark.
It was a very dark scene, but I mean, having a nighttime battle, you gotta admit, I mean, bringing the tension, there was no other way to do this.
Yeah, you had.
I mean, you could have done a daytime, it just wouldn't have been the same, and it was just scary, and it was so dark.
Because you couldn't see the enemy, right? Like that was the best part about the whole kind of setup, was you don't know what's out there.
And that's before even what is to come, which we'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about the Dothraki charge and tactics in general. As soon as they raised up, and we're pretty much there, and they decide to charge the enemy. Now listen, I get if you're thinking, well, listen, we have to try and weaken them as much as possible before they get to our gates, to our walls, to our last line of defense. This was one of the most stupid moves I have ever seen in tactics. Why did you do that? They charged up there and you saw all their things going, and then you saw the lights going out, and I'm just like...
Oh, what a cool shot, though. That was
amazing,
so cool.
Amazing. And you know what? And you have to love the story just for bringing that tension. I mean, even though we all might think, like, this is a stupid... If I would have done it personally, now listen, I am not a general of any sorts, but listen, what you should have done is, you should let the undead come in, and then let the horses come from the two flanks, and then hit from the sides. You know, then you're getting from the front, from the sides, but all the same, here, this or that, the undead were nothing but a steamroller of death.
My wife and I immediately went to World War Z. Like, that's what we thought when we saw them all kind of climbing over each other, like over the front line. Yeah, I don't get the tactic of the Dothraki riding out. I think it definitely gave a sense of emotion, because they're not afraid of anything, right? These are some of the bravest warriors in Game of Thrones, and you see them, the lights just dwindle, and then you see them kind of scamper back, the ones who were still alive.
It was just amazing. And, the fact that Jorah even made it back, because when he was leading the charge, I was like, I don't let Jorah go out like this, right?
I thought the same thing.
And luckily he came back, but you could see he was kind of wounded up on his shoulder. Again, super dark as hell, but they got their asses completely spanked. Now, I gotta admit, I was super worried, because I thought when they came out of the shadows, I was expecting to see, pardon me, sorry, I hit my mic, getting excited. I was expecting to see a cavalry.
Blue eyes?
Okay, blue eyes of a cavalry charge, pretty much. Pretty much everybody that just went out coming back. But it didn't look like the Night King, he wasn't there yet, nor his White Walkers even decided to raise them. They're just like, no, we're good. We'll call in the reinforcements when we need them.
Right.
And then it just goes from there. So let's talk a little bit about the first of our friends to die. And forgive me, I lose this guy's name every single time. Wasn't it Lorraine? I think.
Dolores Ed?
Oh, Dolores, sorry. Yes. I knew it was a woman's name. Hey, no offense. Hey, there's Dolores out there. Hey, peace and love. But yeah, and it sucked, too, because he saved Sam's life, right? Sam should have not been out there. I mean, it's one thing to try and show courage and whatever, but if you're going to become a liability on the field, get off the field and protect the women and children or something else. He could have been used in the crypts later on anyways. So
yeah, I assumed Dolores was going to die there, but I had a small thing in the back of my head that was like, what if Sam dies here?
Could have gone either way. That dagger was all up on him, and then of course, just as soon as he gets him, and you gotta hate it when the heroes kind of stand up and they're like, they take that breath of sigh just before, and you're just like leaving your full backside open, and just and I swear to God, I don't know why, but as soon as that sword got plunged and I saw that blood, I mean, I gasped like huge. It was just, it just caught me off guard. I was just like, oh no. I mean, again, we knew it was coming. So these guys are fighting for their lives and just getting steamrolled. I mean, there is no stopping them. A dragon glass, I mean, if anything, it kind of just, it's kind of holding them at bay for seconds. You know what I mean? It wasn't doing the job. There's just too many of them, and they don't tire out. You see our human friends tire. Shit, Brienne, she got toppled in the first minute of the battle.
First couple minutes at least.
I think Jamie was the one that went over, and amongst maybe Potter was there too. And they got a few of them off her, but she was struggling like crazy. And there's a problem when you're already struggling that earlier on.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, Dolores dies out. But then the dragons start coming in, right? And so just when we're thinking all hope is lost and these guys are pretty much donezo either way, the dragons start putting down their rain of fire and they're just going crazy. Amazing scenes, by the way, especially in the night. I can only imagine the time of the special effects and graphics that had to go into the scene. But it was amazing to see. And just when they think they got that edge and just they think their plan's going well. And hold on, we got we got some comments going too. We'll get to you in 1 second. But just when things are going well, Jon and Dany head over to the White Walkers who are in the tree line, right? Thinking, we'll burn them. Their men troops will drop, at least, whatever they've turned. At least it'll turn the tides a bit. And effing storm just rolls straight in, which I assume was somehow created by the Night King, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would assume so. I think it seems like he has the ability to create that kind of around him, because we've seen that pretty much anytime we've encountered the Night King. And what was interesting about like that whole part where the dragons came out, I think they were trying to hold off. Like, the plan was to keep the dragons by Bran and wait for the Night King to come in.
Right.
But I think Dany saw the Dothraki dying, which, I mean, those are her warriors. So, that's when she kind of headed out. And I think Jon was kind of like, wait a second.
You could see that tension there too.
Yeah, he's like, we're waiting for the Night King, and she just left. So
she kind of screwed the plan.
But they had to though, right?
They did.
But if they didn't do that, then Winterfell would have been overran.
I'll give my wife credit. She was watching, and she's like, "What? Why aren't they getting down in there?" But once they lost visibility, it was like, "Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hit your own troops. You hit your own men. I mean, you don't know what you're shooting at." Yep. So the storms are rolling in, everything's going crazy. The dragons are trying to do their job, they can't, and then suddenly, they're just kind of getting lost in the storm, right? I want to keep to my notes because there's just so much that was going on. By this time, pretty much the outside wall defenses are just decimated. The Northerners are basically retreating back, and hey, props to our Unsullied crew for basically holding down the last defense outside, as the Northerners pretty much. I mean, those guys have, well, wait, I guess they don't have balls.
No, they don't.
But
you technically know.
But you know where I was going there.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying there. Hopefully you guys do too.
They have nerves of steel.
They have nerves of steel, and they
How about
did.
that?
I mean, but even you saw Grey Worm, right? And you saw that look in his face when they had those few shots of them, those freaking walkers just going, or that undead just bleeding through their people, and it was just, it's like, I loved how they did the shots above and so forth. And they kind of kept showing the line by line just dropping. Just by seconds,
and you could see the tactics too with those shots above, where the Unsullied were there to make a kind of an opening for people to retreat, and they closed it off, right? Like they were there.
Smart move. Since you have to sacrifice one of your best armies though to do this.
Right. Yeah.
We got some questions here. We might as well just toss in there. So we got Gio Pantier. I probably said your name wrong, but welcome. So you thought they were going to lose the Battle of Winterfell. Everything happened the way you anticipated, except for Arya killing the Night King. Well, there you go. Spoiler alert.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
We're gonna get to that right there. Real question is, how did the first men win the first time? So Dustin, I know you know a little bit more of the lore, but we had the king that was promised, the very first man who basically stood up against the Night King. Right? Yeah,
and we could talk about that really quickly. So in the books, it was, all the Red Priests, or kind of the followers of the Lord of Light, go back to this, the prince that was promised, or Azor Ahai was his name, and apparently when the first man, or when the Night King was first defeated, or they don't really specify that, but when they kind of beat the Long Night, it was this Azor Ahai, and he basically had to forge a weapon, and it took him multiple tries to do that, and he had to actually end up killing the woman he loved to forge this sword called Lightbringer, which drove back the darkness and ended the long night, is the way they phrase everything. So again, it's very muddled, and it's it's a prophecy. So that was how it's kind of explained and how people understand it. What I find interesting, and we'll get to that, toward the end of our conversation, because obviously, the Night King dies here, but we didn't really see that prophecy come to fruition in the way I would have interpreted.
No, not the way it was built up for so many of the people probably of Westeros who did know about it.
So I think there are a lot of questions that still need to be answered around that, and maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, here was some prophecy that was written so long ago that it's been lost in reiterations and retelling, to where it's something completely different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We also have a couple others. So let me see here. Jessica, let me see here. It sounds like I thought everything was badly explained, and so did the dragon that Jon died. We were just talking about this.
Yeah, we were talking about that before we went live.
And I'm thinking, I mean, who knows? But
he was definitely wounded, right?
He was definitely wounded. He dropped like a bad habit, but you could tell he was kind of dropping. I figured fatigued and just hurt, because I mean, when Jon and him went at it, I mean, those dragons were ripping at. In fact, I think that dragon ripped more at the dragon's throat. Did you notice the Night King's dragon at the end when Jon was running around? Did you see all that fire just trying to
Oh yeah.
I think that was from from Jon's dragon ripping at his throat, and it was just trying to get it out. But
we have a couple comments that there were 2 dragons in the trailer for next episode. I didn't see that, so
very good. And
it sounds like they are alive.
Thank you to that, Tom. Appreciate that, man. Welcome to the show. This chapter might be the best of the season. No way what's coming is better than what we saw. And I want to talk about that too for a second, because oh my God, I've just been waiting for this. We all have been. We've been waiting several seasons, at least for those who haven't read the books. I mean, I didn't even really know about the true White Walkers and how they'd fully play a part. But I mean, although I'm super excited and everything that happened, and I'm happy we won, I'm just kind of like, well, shit. I mean,
yeah, right.
It's
that
over.
Seems like the climax to me. Now they hint toward this.
Right.
This battle for the throne, which is, I guess, that's the whole point of the show, right? It's Game of Thrones, but
we saw what 3 Dragons did to a small. Well, I mean, it was a smaller company of Jaime's men, but it was still a decent. I mean, that was a sizable Lannister army. They still got 2 dragons. I mean,
there's something else here. There's another surprise. We're gonna learn something. But I will agree. I think the rest of the show for me is going to be a little anticlimactic, because this is what I was. Really hyped about. It's the Night King. Yeah, the battle with the Night King is the battle. That's the one I'm worried about. I'm not as concerned about the battle for the throne. But
so Dimitri was asking here. He's asking, why didn't some of the dead in the crypts not rise? So you're right. I mean, it's interesting because they didn't show any people that we, of course, immediately recognize, and of course we wouldn't. I mean, Lyanna and some of those have been dead for over a century. Oh, well, not a century, but I mean a very long time, many years. And we don't even really know if Ned's body even ever made it back, and if it did, he wouldn't have his head.
I was wondering if we were going to see, because that's where Sansa and Tyrion were, behind Ned's crypt. So again, I was waiting for a headless Ned to pop out.
Oh my God! And you know what? I think it would have made it all the more intense. I mean, the crypt scene was super intense. I mean, I was scared for him, and the fact that they didn't even leave any capable warriors down there. I mean, listen, I get it. Every able body on the wall. I get it, but don't you think maybe a few downstairs just in case? I don't know. They didn't.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the way they showed the scene, that maybe they all did come to life, but the way they showed it was kind of like a few at a time, and they only showed those few. I don't know. It was kind of strange, though, that kind of the way it took place. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
We have Dan and Arya here. So is Arya the promised prince? It's interesting. I don't know. It
depends on how you see the prophecy. Like if the prophecy is the person who kills the Night King, then I guess so. Or she was Lightbringer in a sense. She was the weapon that was used to destroy.
Because we talked about the prophecies, and we've all seen and heard about the prophecies of Westeros and all the history and lore, and we always find that it's not an exact science. That's why it's a prophecy. It's like they're morphed. They're a figure of speech, right? We talked about
right. Let's go into the episode a little bit more.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're kind of getting off track a bit,
and we'll come back to some of the comments. But when Melisandre saw Arya that first time in this episode,
right?
Did you see the look she gave her? Right.
Yeah.
That
was interesting.
So they know each other from season 2.
I forgot they even met.
Yeah. She took Gendry and was doing all those tests or whatever on Gendry with his blood.
Okay.
So Arya knows who she is, but that look was something else. It was.
She
saw something, right? Like she saw something in Arya.
Well, now and so
we kind of see that a little later in the episode too.
Does that make sense then? I mean, maybe it's more behind it, and since she's still alive, there could be more. But since Arya is the one that killed the Night King, is it weird that Melisandre kind of knew? Now, maybe not that she would kill the Night King, but remember, Beric saved her, right?
Yeah.
And she said Lord of Light kept him alive for a reason.
Yep.
So the reason was probably to keep her alive so she could kill the Night King. Now that all flows and makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the comment they passed to each other there, what do we say to death? Not today, was what Arya said to her master, her trainer back in Winterfell in season 1. I don't know if you remember, Syrio Farrell was her dancing trainer, is what they called it. Because
that dude was awesome. He was amazing.
Yeah, so that's a saying that he had said to Arya. Whenever all the guards attacked and he ended up dying off screen, he had said that to her whenever he told her to go away. He said, "Run away. What do we say to death? Not today." So I know he was from Bravos, I believe he was from Bravos, and that kind of started that whole faceless man thing.
Right, kind of tied her to it.
It was interesting to hear Melisandre say that. and Arya say, not today. And I knew at that moment when she said that and ran off, something major was going to happen with her. I didn't know if she was going to kill the Night King, but I knew something big was coming.
I didn't think that part. Absolutely not. But amazing scene. Let me see here. Well, let's get a little bit further into it, and I definitely want to get back to a few more comments here, guys. Thanks for joining in and watching our show here as we get through this. This is just crazy. So let's talk about. Okay, so Melisandre gets outside, right? They can't start the damn trenches on fire. So the Unsullied are dropping like flies. They just keep getting closer and closer to those trenches, which behind that, another 30, 40 feet are the walls. She goes out there with a small Unsullied group, which I'm thinking to myself, what the hell are you guys going to do? I mean, they're dropping these guys like, whatever drops fast.
So when they focused on Grey Worm there, I thought he was going to just like grab a torch and make a mad dash for the trench. Yeah.
But he did.
And then I saw him look at Melisandre, and then I'm like, okay, I know what they're doing.
So they had a plan, and that was good. And she went out there, and she's trying to light it. And you could tell even at one point she's kind of like, "Hey, Lord of Light,
come on, dude.
Whenever you're ready, brah. I mean, I'm here for you." And thank goodness it lights. And when it lights, it just again the lighting, amazing effects. I mean, I've done some nighttime shooting with our zombie series, Dead Nightmare, and it's just a bitch. I'm just gonna say it. So what these guys are working with, but mind the budgets and the money, I'm sure they're able to work it all out. It looked great. In fact,
it's a little bit more than what Dead Nightmare has, right?
It's just a little bit, maybe by let's say this episode probably had a $30 million budget. So take away with $1,000 of that, and there's my budget. So
that the fire was crucial for fending off the army, but it also kind of gave a light for the Dany and Jon in the sky too, to know where they were.
It set boundaries to understand where Winterfell was and now where they can go and attack. And and you could tell Grey Worm. There was another piece here I just want to point out. He had to sacrifice his entire army there. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He pretty much saw it. He's just I can't. There's nothing he could do. And I think this was the first time Grey Worm and his men have ever faced a foe so strong and determined that there's no win. And anyways, he flips it, the spikes go up, and so forth, the fire. So some of the Northers get inside, and it goes from there. And let's just talk about real quick as the dead are climbing the walls, World War Z style. I mean, dude. It was a great shot. It was a great scene because I was wondering, can the dead just climb up these walls? If you start piling your asses far enough, what do we first see with that? The Night King, it's when they first show him kind of riding in, he kind of lifts his hand, kind of commanding, and what do they start doing? They start sacrificing their bodies on top of the fire. I mean...
So it took me a minute to really understand what was happening. I was like, why are they just walking into the fire? Like, that's pretty dumb. And then I saw him like actually lay down on it and build a bridge, and I was like, oh, shit.
And I'm not going to act like I'm all knowing stuff, but as soon as I saw that, I just felt like I was at home with this.
Click,
I was just like, I see it, and Steph's like, what the hell are they doing? I'm like, they're building a damn bridge, and they sure did. And then it's so funny because then as they started kind of running in, I said, well, it's okay, babe. At least the good news is they're being funneled in, and then they all of a sudden pan to the side, and there's pretty much just little dead man bridges all down the way.
All the way down the trench.
I go strike that. So they hit the walls. You're going crazy. How about those Arya moves? Just backing up a little bit. She has that two-ended dragon glass weapon.
Yeah, right? We finally see her weapon. Yep.
She was kicking some major ass. I mean, props to you. I mean, you got to appreciate her character and probably the training she's gone through to truly make her look like a badass. I'm convinced. I'm good.
But what's interesting too, though, is she destroys quite a few of those things, and then all of a sudden she gets her head knocked a little bit.
She did.
And she kind of goes back to old Arya. Like, you could tell she was scared.
Because it's like, at first, it's like, it was manageable. It was like 1-on-1, maybe 2-on-1, but she's working it out. When that one knocked her and she lost her weapon too, the fear consumed her. And you know what? I can't blame her because you can only last so long. Hell, look at the Hound down there. Look at Clegane just stricken with fear and just utter defeat. And Beric's
there's no way we could win. Yeah, exactly.
He's yelling. Beric's yelling for him, like, get your ass out here. And he's like, no, we're done. And then he sees Arya, and then they go looking for her. So that's
not to mention there's fire everywhere. So for Clegane, that's
thought the same thing.
That's not a great place to be.
He was probably like, none of you assholes told me there was going to be literally fire in every possible direction.
Yeah.
Let's just hit a few comments here right quick.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, Jessica mentioned something about, so they did everything to get to the Game of Thrones. Cersei is the real villain here, guys. I kind of agree, Jess. I kind of also would like to hope, though, that this undead presence, this kind of changed things up. We've seen 7 full seasons. I mean, more or less, minus maybe 2 or 3 episodes of some White Walkers in the battle on, when they were up in the Wildlings area. But we've seen so much of the Game of Thrones. This was just kind of a nice change of pace,
Yeah.
And to really be scared, because I got to be honest, I'm not scared of Cersei. She doesn't scare. The only thing that scares me about Cersei is just her determination for the throne, and that is all she wants.
And she'll do anything. So I think kind of the symbolism here is you've got this evil threat that we think is like the threat, and it's defeated. So it's almost like the evil of men will always kind of outweigh,
anything else,
this other evil or anything else, right?
I agree.
Which is interesting. It's an interesting, because like even me, like I was all hyped for this battle with the Night King. Like that, to me, like that's the end. That's the climax. That's kind of the end of the story. But
I was really kind of hoping for it. It's so funny. A buddy of ours, when I met you on the show, Mike Capel, he was mentioning, like, I could just see, and of course, we all know it probably would happen, but just a desolate wasteland of just nothing but bodies and so forth. And pretty much kind of like the Night King winning, or maybe he's dead, but it killed so many other humans. Like, there's just a small. I think that would have been a pretty cool end. I know that's a little weird, and that's probably far-fetched, but I mean, just to show that desolation, and I just thought that'd be really, really neat. But now after this, I mean, we pretty much know that there's definitely more to be had, and we talked about this last week, Dustin. We were like, how in the hell are they going to get out of Winterfell? So we just kept saying, is this the final showdown? Yeah.
I thought the Night King would be headed south. I didn't think he'd be here.
I
thought they're going to redirect us or something, but no. So I did see a comment, and I want to talk about this. We need to talk about Lady Mormont.
Dude, okay. That
was awesome.
It's on the list. Hold on. In fact, you know what? Nope, it's the next bullet. Lady Mormont.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow, is what I'm going to say. I mean, I get it. She's a little girl, and, some of us get a little annoyed at young kids, when they come to a bit of a power, and Joffrey and some of the others we've seen. But Lady Mormont, she was about her family. She was about her house, and she was about the North, and you have to appreciate that. And when that giant barreled through those doors, I mean, you talk eyes opening like 4 times wider than they probably should, mouth just dropped, and he just kind of knocks her to the side, and I was like, oh, kind of like, well, she gone.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, damn, she's dead.
Yeah, but she wasn't dead, right? She's just, half knocked unconscious, and half her body probably broken. But watching her little body get up with that dragonglass axe and charging in with, I mean, she had more courage than I think any man superpower I think I've ever seen. And when he picked her up, and I'm just like, oh god, he's gonna chew her head off. He's gonna do this.
I thought he was gonna bite her head off. Yeah.
And she takes that dagger with the last bit of breath and stabs it in. Oh god, I did it again. I hit my mic. But stabs in her eye. Yeah. I was just like, what an amazing scene. I thought so. I'd love to hear what you guys thought about her ending.
It was awesome, and I don't know if I'm just an idiot. I wasn't expecting that. I just thought she was gonna die. But like I wasn't expecting her to do anything until I saw him like zoom in on the giant's eye, and then I was like, okay. And then I saw her stab him. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. We got some guy in here who says I couldn't see shit. I guess you mean the episode was so damn dark. Apologies for cursing for some. We kind of get after it a little bit here on the show, but we'll try to keep it to a low key. But yeah, it was true. There was some crazy stuff going on, and it was so dark. But I think that's what made it so scary, between all the smoke and when you couldn't see anything. It's because you were meant not to see anything. They were trying to put you into the shoes of those men and women that are on the battle, and they're just blinded by the storms and everything else. It was just amazing. So yeah, Arya gets pinned down. She starts running through the walls of Winterfell. I don't want to spend too much time on this. It was kind of creepy seeing her through the halls and basically playing the ultimate game of hide and go seek with a bunch of the undead.
Yeah, and my wife had her hands over her eyes the whole time on that part. So
I mean, well done on the creepiness factor. I mean, I give them points. They're working it out. Beric and Clegane go searching for her, right? Mm-hmm. And she finally meets up with them, and then they just start getting overwhelmed. And I think that's what I was loving the most when we finally got inside. Which, when I couldn't help but think when she was running through the halls, I'm like, these are the halls that you played in as, a true child. I'm like, she should know every inch of this, terrain. But she's running as fast as she can. These things are catching up to her. She runs into the Hound and Beric, and things are just getting crazy. Beric starts getting wounded, and I think we all just kind of saw exactly where that was going, right? We already spoiled it a little bit earlier, but yeah,
it was kind of a nice transition from the crazy battles outside where it's just going back and forth. You can't really tell what's happening.
Yes.
To this more intimate, like isolated team fighting, which I thought was, kind of, for me, it was something I was really looking forward to because it was getting a little hectic, and it was like I was having a hard time
keeping up with it all.
What's happening? Like, who was that? Did they just die? Like, what's going on? So it was nice to see a more isolated battle here. But yeah, you've got Beric kind of laying down, and I thought he had died a couple times in that whole scene, but he kept coming, like he was still with them, and like he kept kind of holding them back. So he
got stabbed several times, and but showing his ferocity and just trying to do what he felt he had to do, and which was basically save Arya, and in some ways Clegane too. I mean, Clegane, he held his own as well, but what a crazy deal, and he finally died, and then that's when, like you said, Melisandre kind of comes out of the dark. She just happens to be hanging out in there. Great timing, by the way. We'll just throw that out there, but she basically says that he had one last thing to do, and he did it. And again, maybe some of us who see more clairvoyance than others, maybe you saw and you understood, oh, maybe she's got a purpose for the very end. I didn't know what that meant, and so needless to say, by the end, but we'll get to that final scene. We're not there yet. So a couple last comments. Let me see here. The winter storm prevented them from doing anything. Yeah, we know that. What else? I enjoyed the episode overall. It made me feel claustrophobic, and that's what I'm assuming what they felt in Winterfell. And exactly right. Let me see, that's OG. I feel the same way. I mean, it was claustrophobic. You just felt like wherever you went, as the episode kept moving through, and Jon, he was trying to bar one gate, only to have him crash through another. It was just like, there is nowhere to go. And I think they're even a little more lenient, honestly. That place should have been probably ass-to-ass wall with nothing but undead. But fortunately, I guess they were getting thinned out, and our warriors were doing the job. But you see shots of Jaime and Brianna just pinned against the walls, just trying their last bits of strength. And I'm just like, oh my... For a second, Dustin, I seriously thought they were all just going to start dropping.
I did too.
Just drop.
So, well, to me, it was kind of like, how couldn't they at this point? Like,
right.
I know we may be skipping ahead a little too far, but when Jon was running through and Sam was kind of on that pile of bodies, and he had like three whites on him, and he's crying like he's dead, right? Like I'm like, he's dead, and then he's still survived somehow. So yeah, there were a few of those folks that they managed to make it through, but I mean, when you're looking at it at the moment, it's like there's no way they're going to live. They're dead. They're dead right now.
Hey, by the way, I just want to say thank you for those who've joined in and they're watching the show. Just for a second, this is the most viewers we've ever had. We're kind of a small time, but we're trying to get bigger. So if you're enjoying what you're watching, we're going to keep doing this, of course, every Sunday. The target time is 10 o'clock tonight, which is a little bit more hectic. Had some things going on, but 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Make sure to keep joining back in on the Zoom shows. We talk this. And my good buddy Dustin, he comes in. He has a great lore of knowledge for the Game of Thrones.
Well, you say great. I say...
Well, tomato, Dustin.
Moderate.
But so anyways, let's get straight back into it. So Melisandre talks to him, and so we see let's hold off on Bran just for a second. Bran and Greyjoys. So Jon and the Night King dragons go head to head. I call that insane. It was an amazing scene. I mean, that dragon's like biting like right near Jon's head. I'm just like, Jon, take out your sword and do something. But then I'm like, oh wait, except you're riding a dragon and doing twirls and twists, and you probably can't do shit.
You just got to hold on.
Hold on for sweet baby Lord life and just see how this goes down.
I really wanted to see here was I wanted some of that fire to hit Jon to see if he's got the real blood of a Targaryen.
Oh, right you are, Ken.
Didn't happen, but I was waiting for it.
Now that would mean, and we had some other scenes with some fire near him, but they were so close near misses. There's no way to say.
Right.
That may come into play one day. I forgot about that, Dustin.
Maybe.
Good call.
We'll see.
I have also on the list. Let me see here. So luckily at the last second of craziness and looks like all is over for Jon and his dragon, Dany comes in and just kind of clutches in, with her dragon and so forth. Night King just gets knocked off like a little, and just goes flying. And dude, you gotta love that guy. He's just kind of like, and, I mean, honestly, I thought he was gonna go down and just kind of be like, like suck it. So he goes down, and then we see Jon's dragon pretty much take the plummet, which I know somebody mentioned that. Sorry, I forgot who said that, but we see the plummet of the dragon hit the ground pretty damn hard as after he kind of stumbles a bit. Is it dead? Hey, yeah, it very well could be, and if it is, you're talking now one dragon versus the army, and that would kind of make sense, really, because.
Well, yeah, I was thinking he was dead, but I know some of the other viewers had said they saw 2 dragons in the next
That's
preview.
right.
So
Thank you.
I think Jon's dragon lived. It didn't really show us though in the episode.
Right on. So let's talk about that scene. And I call this the Dany and Night King standoff, pretty much. So Night King standing there, she flies down after his ass like, you're not getting away from me. Loving the ferocity, loving her tension, everything else. And she just says the words, Dracarys, and that fire just burns and just engulfs his ass. And I'm thinking, God, I just want this to work so much, but I
knew it wasn't going to.
We knew it wasn't. Jon's over on the field. He's kind of watching. He's looking. Everyone's looking. The whole crowd's aiming in, and his ass just stands up and looks, and he smiles, Dustin.
Oh yeah.
He smiled at her. I was just like, that's the first bit of emotion you've ever seen out of the Night King.
Right.
Which, I'm sorry, I gotta throw it out here for a second. I'm kind of pissed off that he's already gone. I know. I feel like there's, if someone wants to say, yeah, but they're just the undead, and they're just, they kill, and that's all there is to them.
This guy got screwed. Like, he was made by the children of the forest to battle men.
Yes.
I wanted to know more about that. Maybe we will learn. Maybe Bran will actually say something. I don't know.
He was ultimately wronged, right? He was pretty much crucified and murdered.
That's what it appeared to be, yeah. Right. So I was looking forward to seeing kind of more of their motivation and what was driving them, back to Bran. But
either way,
and then he pulls out a spear too and chucks it, and I'm thinking, oh damn!
That spear just whizzed over. I'm just like,
yeah,
boy, you guys just know how to get it. So the fire, no bueno, moves on. I was just like, what the hell? Jon tries to tackle him down on foot. Well, not tackle him, but you know what I mean. He's chasing him down. He's running.
So then I'm thinking 1v1. We're gonna see Jon against the Night King. No,
not so much.
Not so much.
Especially when he starts bringing, he takes his hands, he just starts to lift it. I'm like, no. And I'm telling you, I was expecting a little bit more resurrection going on throughout the battle, and not just the very end. But I will say, how dramatic was it to basically see that? Yeah, you decimated, probably 60% of my army. Meet my new army. Right. Right.
How crushing! You see the scenes of all the warriors inside, kind of looking at, there were they killed a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then to see him just start rising back up.
Now, I don't think he could re-rise the ones that were dead, obviously.
Right. I think it was just the dead soldiers, right?
That was the point, right? All those men and women or whatever, this all being risen right back up. Just, God. How defeating, and you're just like, what the hell? So Jon tries to get to him, and then he's basically surrounded, and the Night King's just he just turns around and he's like, take care of him, without saying take care of him. And he just starts heading back for Bran, right? So I think we can skip to that. So Jon pretty much puts off the fight of his life there with the undead. And we get back to basically the Greyjoys, which they've kind of been fighting all throughout this with their arrows. Why they chose to go straight arrows and not others, you need a lot of archers, but it seemed like they were taking care of business. So, good job.
I'd build maybe a ring of fire around Bran or something,
Do the same methods at least something. Yeah. Because they were showing them just running in the outskirts. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to get tackled in no time.
Not quite as effective as a bow, but...
It doesn't have the range of a sword. Sorry, movie drop there. This is a personal joke between Justin and I. Little blade action. But anyways, they're tossing arrows out there like it's going out of style. They're holding them off, but you knew it couldn't last. And I think that's where we'll pick back up there. But during all that, we see the crypts. There was a lot of fan theories. They were wondering, would... the Night King be able to raise the dead in Winterfell, and they did. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see anybody we really knew. I think having Sansa or even Tyrion, or any of those guys, happen to see some disfigured body that looked like something like Ned or Lyanna or anybody, would have been 10,000 times more scary, right? But we didn't. But they were getting after it. So much so that Sansa and Tyrion were just peacing. They were just like, well, hey, you wanna hide behind this thing? Right. I was waiting for one to kind of like, this is my hiding spot. Get out of here, Yeah. But no, there's kind of a sentimental scene between Tyrion. He kisses her hand, and I think they come across Varys and some children hiding in another area, and it's just like, again, why you didn't put at least a few able warriors down there. At least they could have killed off.
Yeah.
How many Starks could they have brought back? 10, 12? I don't know.
I think this is when it's starting to. It's coming to a point of hopelessness, right? Like
hopelessness.
I'm in my head. I'm thinking, how do they get through this without? They're gonna have to kill the Night King. Like you have to.
And I think that's what it's aiming for, right?
It's just Bran, right? And now it's just Bran there. So, so I'd kind of forgotten about Arya at this point, which I think the director, the show writers did a really good job of spacing that out, because I knew when her and Melisandre had that little line, I knew something was coming.
Right.
But at this moment, I had kind of forgotten about it until a little later in that scene. But I'm thinking, this is hopeless. There's no way they're going to fight these guys back.
Do you see how they put so much focus and close shots on Theon? And and by the way, I think he regained his honor. I mean, the man, we talked about it, all the things he's been through anyway, so we're not going to rehash that. But point being, I mean, he fought like a true, just badass warrior.
And even Bran, I think Bran acknowledged that at the end. You're a good man. Thank you.
And when he charged in on the night, when the Night King finally appeared, and they're just completely surrounded by the undead, and he just charged with that spear, and I mean, just as quick as a blink of an eye, he sheared that spear off, the Night King did, and stabbed Theon straight. I mean, I was just like, hey, gallant effort. I mean, what else was he going to do? It's either he waits for him to come to him and kill him, or so he tried, but Theon couldn't. He didn't get re-risen, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was definitely kind of bad to see him go. I know he wasn't a favorite character of many, but I love that he tried to protect his little, half whatever brother.
There's a comment. I thought the same thing. Adius commented, I thought Sansa and Tyrion were going to commit suicide in the crypts. I had that thought too. She pulled out that dagger.
You're right.
And then for a split second, I'm thinking, what are they doing? I was like, are they just gonna kill themselves so they don't get turned? Oh well, I guess they still could have gotten turned eventually, but I don't know.
We've seen a lot of. I mean, I've seen a lot of apocalypse movies and this and that. And sometimes it comes down to that choice, right?
Yeah.
And no, I don't think anybody can just say, I would just do it, because when it's your life. But I mean, like you're talking about hopelessness, the claustrophobia. Some of our listeners have been mentioning. Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I think as a male, as a warrior, as I would try to fight for my people, at least that's what I'd like to hope to do. I mean, I would definitely die on the battlefield, but at least I'd try. But I mean, to some of the others, I mean, let's say you're not a fighter, and maybe you are more timid or weak, and you're not a warrior. Would you take your own life? And
do you want to get eaten by a frost zombie, or do you just want to?
But
yourself.
But part of me wants to but I'm gonna get resurrected anyways. I'd at least like to go down fighting. At least that's my thought. It doesn't mean it's the right thought or anything else. But if I'm gonna go on my terms fighting. But that's.
I think that's what's so great about this show is you just never know what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have all these crazy thoughts when things are kind of going down, because you just don't know.
Right.
And typical historical TV shows, it's pretty evident what's coming, and you can kind of expect it. But with this show, it's proven that you just don't know. So nothing's off the wall. Nothing's too crazy to theorize or to think, because it's who knows? They could kill themselves. Jon could die. Dany could die at any moment. There is no safety net there. So.
And as we're leading up to this final scene, which we're going to talk to about what goes down with the Night King near Bran, we see Ser Jorah fighting to the bitter effing end. And I will admit, I think out of most of the people that dropped tonight, I think Ser Jorah was probably my favorite.
Yeah,
I loved his story. I loved his storyline. I loved where he came from, the things he was going to do to Dany, to what he didn't do, to kind of being shunned and then being accepted, and then just being a great warrior in general, and just regain. It's those full story arcs, and seeing some of these people regain their honor before they finally did check out. And
and that was a fitting end for Jorah.
Did you see him? I mean, there was at least 2 or 3 blows. He purposely put his body in front. How fitting. I mean, if anybody was to be by her side. And let's face it, Dany's nothing without her dragons. I'm sorry, she's not a warrior. She may have the heart of a warrior. She may have the heart of Targaryen, but she's not a warrior. You know what I mean? So she had to have somebody to help protect her. And that was insane. I know somebody was saying Ser Jorah is still alive after all that. Well, I mean, he ultimately died, guys. In fact, I don't even think he said a word. I think he just kind of slipped away as she was holding him. So very, very crazy. R.I.P. Dothraki. You're not kidding. Those poor bastards. I mean, they didn't have a clue what they were getting into. Let me see here. R.I.P. Melisandre. True that. She did play her part out in the end. Arya was wearing the Infinity Stones of plot armor. Touche. Who was that? That was JZ31519. Nice one, dude. I like it.
Yeah, so let's talk about that final scene.
Okay, let's talk about it. So I'm gonna let you start off. What do you want to say?
So I'm gonna take you through kind of what I'm thinking as it's progressing, right? So okay. Theon's dead. The Night King's moving in on Bran, and man, they really took their time. I was like, I was at the edge of my seat, like on the couch, like what's gonna happen? So he's inching toward Bran, and he gets up to him. So here's why I love the show, and again, I have crazy thoughts as I'm watching things unfold.
Sure.
For a moment, I'm thinking, is Bran like evil and controlling this guy? Because he's just walking toward him slowly, and like, part of me expected him to just like bow down or something to Bran, and then like totally mind F us and be like, no, Bran's a three-eyed raven, but he's really like his purpose is something else. I don't know, just something crazy. And I'm like, no, they can't do that.
Yeah.
So then you see him obviously reaching back for a sword. And so the moment I remembered Arya knew what was happening was when that gust of wind came. The White Walker kind of turned and looked. You saw that scene right before. I knew it was Arya. I knew she was coming in. I didn't know what was going to happen or what she was going to do.
Before they showed her, kind of. I guess. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I knew it. And I even told my wife. I was like, "Here comes Arya," and
that's awesome.
And then just comes flying in.
Like
out of nowhere.
Bat out of hell. I mean, holy crap.
Then he turns and grabs her. And so at that moment, I'm thinking, I thought maybe he stabbed her with something. I knew he didn't get his sword yet, but I didn't know if he had something in his hand or what. But it just made a kind of a weird sound when he caught her. But then obviously
I broke her neck or something almost.
Yeah,
because
something.
You could still see she was moving. So I was like, she's not dead. But I'm like, is he just going to, not...
Right.
But
and then, oh man, and then that scene. She just...
Guys, I mean, she
drops the dagger.
By the way, perfect move for a true assassin. Right?
Oh, yeah.
A dagger move like that, which I mean is a harder thing to see coming, and the Night King did not see this one coming, and she drops it to her left, and she stabs it straight. In fact, it happened so quick with the camera movements, and I think half my body was still in shock from everything I've already seen from the episode. I thought that she slipped it to Bran, and Bran was kind of like, "Oh, I'll get him," but I mean, I knew in my mind that's not what happened. But for a split second, I was like, did I just see what I thought I saw, or did something else? I mean, you said you yourself, Dustin. You rewound it like what? 3 times?
My wife jumped off the couch and was like, "Yes, Arya, yes!" And we rewound it like 3 times and watched it over again. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Again, not what I expected at all. As I'm going into tonight, not what I expected.
As they shattered, and poor John's over there, and you could tell he was trying to find a way to get it. I was hoping he could.
Oh yeah.
I was almost hoping he was going to go over with his sword and like lunge it up, and maybe find its heart or something like that. But he couldn't. No matter every time he tried, the fire just came back, the blue fire, and trying to consume him, which we never got to see. I mean, I thought that fire was close enough. Pretty much, it would have caught anybody else on fire. So.
What's interesting is I've seen a lot of comments about Jon and Dany pretty much being worthless tonight, and I think that was the point. And one thing about Martin in general and how he writes, like you have typical like storybook heroes, which you would say Jon is your typical hero, right?
Right.
And he has moments of heroism for sure, but he does a great job of kind of subverting that and showing like he's still human. And he could still have faults and errors, and you kind of have to have these other people pick up the slack when that happens. It's
not just their world. There's all these other people, and we talked about Littlefinger a few episodes back, and we still don't know if we've seen the end of him, which would make sense now that we have still 3 episodes, because let's face it, I mean, I know we said what we both liked episodes 1 and 2 just for the sense they had to get everybody back together. I mean, if they would have just went straight into the action like something like tonight, I think we almost would have been like, whoa, wait, what's happening here? And then number 2, just seeing those interactions one more time, and then by 3, finally seeing our friends fight for their very lives to the very end. But I just, we still don't know where the storyline ends, and we now have 3 more episodes, and mind you, 2 of those are a minimum of 1 hour and 20 minutes, episodes 5 and 6, and episode 4, I think, is still another hour and 10 or 12. I think I saw it on a lineup. Somebody posted it. So there's still a lot of story left, guys. So, I mean, it's not just going to be, Dany's going to go up with her dragon, she burns half the shit, and, what's left of the Northmen, and I guess there's no more Dothraki or or unsullied.
Yeah, they gone.
I mean, there might be a couple of pockets of them, but right, it's not going to be like what they needed. So we'll have to see who's going to come to their aid, because now you have all the others. So before we start getting into any other little theories and this and that, I mean, that pretty much wraps this portion, I think, of what we saw, guys. And
you want to hit some comments?
Yeah, let's hit some comments, because there's just so much that went on, and I can tell these comments are getting crazy now. Sorry, guys, we're trying to do our best to rifle through these.
Jessica says, please talk about that warging of Bran. Where did he go? I was wondering the same thing, because you see him going to the crows, right? And he kind of sees that overhead view, but is he there? Is he in the crow the whole time? Like,
so he went originally, right? And he found the Night King. That's how we found him, right?
Yeah.
But then they're just kind of like, and then whatever. He stayed ward, literally. Now let's imagine. So I mean, obviously that battle was not real time, but let's imagine that battle was a 2-hour battle, maybe.
Sure.
Maybe something like that. Hour. Where the hell was he at? And don't tell me that he was just up on top, just watching, and just kind of, I'm just kind of keeping an eye to see where the Night King is. When the Night King showed up, Bran was, I mean, by that time, Bran had already kind of decided he was coming out of it. Now, if somebody wants to say, well, maybe Bran had already seen that the Night King had pretty much landed, stormed through the front gates, and that he was there, okay, I can kind of see that, but that's a lot of time of pretty much doing next to nothing, you know? Now, true, it's not like he's a sorcerer or something like that. All he can really do is go in the past and maybe kind of see portents of the future, right? Or possible futures, maybe. So it's not like he can create some kind of crazy storm or enchantment that's going to protect them all or do something. So maybe he was just screwed anyways. I just feel that something else was going on there. If you guys have thoughts to maybe see where in the hell was Brandon at when he was working out like that. And, I mean, was he still in the birds? Was he just circling Winterfell? I
thought maybe he went to the dragon at one point, but it didn't look like that happened.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, they didn't show the connection at least, which of course doesn't mean anything, but it's still what we have.
Oh, here's another interesting comment. Watch there be a balance the Night King brings to Westeros. He needs to exist for some reason, and Jon will make the ultimate sacrifice and become the Night King. I love that. I love that theory. That was from Jay-Z.
So that's a good point, right? Because there has to be that balance. There's always somebody who's the Night King, right? I mean, at one point in time.
And maybe we'll learn more of that from Bran when, you know, I have to think at some point
they're gonna have to do some.
He's gonna have to
flashbacks.
Talk and explain some of this stuff. Yeah.
If they can show, I have a feeling at one point, guys. I'm calling it right now. This is my prediction. That at some point they're gonna do a serious, solid flashback where there's gonna be nothing but like a solid backstory. I think, you know, where he goes back and he shows maybe when the original guy who created Stormbreaker, all that stuff, or excuse me, before that, but the guy who they killed to become the Night King. You know, maybe they show some information around how that all went down and what it meant, but they're gonna have to show something. There's not enough context around it just to give us hey, everything's cool, the Night King's dead and all's well, let's go kill Cersei and we'll call it a day. Right. That is not a George R.R. Martin ending. Okay. Yeah, no. I do not see Jon and Dany sitting on the throne together. It's not gonna happen, guys. And if you're I hate to breathe a break one to you, hope you don't leave the channel just because of that comment, but I'm telling you, there's no way in sweet Sunny Jesus that's going to go down. No.
What was it? Peter Dinklage made a comment a few seasons ago, kind of mid-season. He said, "If you think this ends well, you haven't been paying attention." And I think that is
I love it.
Perfect comment for the show. There was another question I thought was interesting. So what about Melisandre? Let's talk about her death at the end.
Oh, we did miss on that. That's
so
right.
What's the purpose, I guess, and what does that mean? She knew she was going to die, right? She was saying that already. She was going to die before dawn.
Right.
So is that some sort of pact she had with the Lord of Light? Like, if you give me this strength tonight to do whatever,
I'll give my life.
Or does she know that was kind of her purpose, and it was done at that point, or I don't know.
A lot of movies and shows kind of work off of, I'm here for a purpose. I did this for a purpose, you know, right? So I feel this was her true purpose in the show. And that, because we saw, many seasons ago, right, we saw that scene where she was super old, right? And then she put back on the collar or whatever, became young and beautiful again. So again, I think she felt that she was played out. I think she knew Davos wanted to murder her anyways, and I think she's just like, this is my last will and testament. This is what I'm doing for humanity. And
I mean, that was her purpose the whole time, was to defeat the Night King. That was even when she was with Stannis, it was she thought he was the prince who was promised.
Which, and I know throughout the, she always said, well, sometimes we make mistakes, you know, and she made a lot of big ones, but in the end, you know, she kind of came through. But yeah, she kind of walks out there, and you could, if you look really closely, again, darker scenes, but her hair turns almost like, you know, sheet white or gray, if you will, and then she drops to her knees and pretty much withers away straight on. So that was a very interesting scene, and I think her story is played out. I think she did what she needed to do, and it helped save mankind pretty much, at least for now. Anything else we have here? We're talking about Yara and how Winterfell is loyal to her and vice versa. So that's true. Yara's still there. I gotta be honest, guys. She doesn't have that many men left. You know, I mean, I'm sure once Yara gets word that the undead are, you know, pretty much no more, she's gonna come to their aid. But I just don't know how much that's gonna play in.
Yeah.
You know? So Melisandre's death. I saw that.
Did Ghost die? Yeah, that was a good.
Talk about like
we saw Ghost for 3 seconds.
Hey, Ghost is running.
I know.
Hey guys, do you see Ghost? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, there he is.
Let me put on my glasses. You know, I was like, where did he go?
Yeah.
I assume he's still alive, guys. I mean, if they didn't,
it's just fan service at this point. Like I think they're just putting him in there because we want to see him, and that's it.
So Manuel, he makes a comment. We still need to know what Jon's purpose of resurrection, and I think that's a great comment, John, because Manuel, because everybody else has had a purpose. Beric had a purpose. I don't know if Melisandre ever got brought back, but I know there's a few other people that have been brought back over time. And so, yeah, what is truly Jon's purpose?
I mean, was his purpose just to kind of have a credible witness to the danger that was coming, to get kind of the forces banded together? I don't know.
Yeah, because without Jon and truly making that fight and that force to go north and you know, and say, we got to go get this walker, we got to bring him back, or the undead. Yeah, maybe that was his purpose, but you're right. It seems a little weak knowing he's still alive. I mean, if his story arc was really that truly completed, I mean, you figure he might have died on the battlefield or something like that. I gotta swear, man, I thought Dany was almost gonna bite it in this one. That's how close
I did too.
She was so close. But you know, Jorah sticking it out with her, and that was awesome. Will Dany become like her father? That's slightly crazy. We've seen building in her over the throne, because her to be the ultimate villain that Jon will kill. You know, I think if she were to become like her, you want to talk about a tragic story. I mean, right? Because I'm telling you, I mean, I'm loving her kind of right now, and I'm loving what she's trying to bring, because she's trying to drop her guard. She's trying to love Jon and this, but you can already see that love is turning to, I wouldn't call it hate, but it's something not good.
Yeah, and that's something that still needs to be resolved, right? It kind of came up right before the battle, so
and you know now that, I mean, I saw the cups cheering and everybody's like, yeah, we won, you know, but I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, and I'm actually still supposed to be the king, and you're not really the queen, and oh shit. Anywho's, so let's see, do we have any last comments here? Can someone explain to me, what does the witch want to say with brown eyes, green eyes, and blue eyes? You know what? I heard that comment and I did not understand it. Or maybe somebody else in the comments.
Well, she had said that, I don't remember the exact comment to Arya, but it was something about she was going to basically end up having her share of killing. Like Arya was going to be killing. And she made comments about eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, brown eyes.
Okay.
I think somebody was just getting into it. So yeah, Jolt Gaming. Frey had brown eyes, and Night King had blue eyes, and Cersei has green eyes. So that was kind of what they're foreshadowing here. Is she's probably going to be laying them all out. So.
But you know, guys, I have to really say, watching Arya take out the Night King, does any of you feel that it's almost too? It's too obvious that she probably shouldn't be the one to kill Cersei. You know, it just seems like she killed the Night King, and she killed Cersei, and you know, but I know someone mentioned, is she the promised king to be? Maybe she's just so awesome that that's just her path. But I just feel now that we saw her take out the Night King, something different's going to happen. Now I know those are mentioned, and we've talked about it before. Jaime killing Cersei because of her prophecy, right? That was given to her so many years ago about all her children, right, Dustin?
Yeah, the Valonqar, which basically means little brother or younger brother.
Which could be one of two.
Yeah, so she was technically born before Jaime. So she has Tyrion and Jaime still alive. Or people have interpreted that as even a younger brother of someone else. Even it doesn't have to be
That's true.
her brother.
That's a good point.
But yeah, so Maggie the Frog was the witch who prophesied that for Cersei, but all the other prophecies she gave her had come true, basically, like all of her children dying.
Let's just say the stats aren't looking good for Cersei.
Not looking, can you give me a number crunch there?
Yeah,
Mike?
which might be, by the way, why she's being all the more. Sorry, I didn't give you a number crunch. Let's call it a solid 75.73 repeating. Hey, yeah,
yeah,
no,
good.
Yeah, this is a good one. But yeah, there's something more there, and I think we're definitely going to see something go down. Let me see here. Was the Night King created at the tree where he died? Yeah,
I believe that was where that's where the Night King was created. Gotcha. At that big weirwood tree where Bran was.
I forgot to say whose question that was. That was Capital Ruben. Thanks for the question. Thanks for joining the show. We got a few comments being held for review, guys. Try to keep your language to a minimum. I'm trying to let a few of them go by. So just what do we got?
Sansa here? Killing Cersei would be dope. I agree. OG 2 Saints. I agree. I would love to see that.
Oh, Sansa killing
Cersei.
Cersei? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and plus she's still alive, right? I mean, Sansa has played the game very well. I think next to Littlefinger, I think Sansa might. I mean, although through some tragic steps and quite a bit of luck, but all the same, she's done a pretty good job. Staying alive. But so what purpose does she hold? That's a pretty damn good question. I don't know the answer, so I'll let you all theorize on that one.
And I'm not going down the rabbit hole here, but I'm just going to tell you guys, I think Littlefinger's still alive. You could look up videos if you want to know more about it.
Dustin, do you remember?
I don't know who's with me, but
do you remember the video that we watched? I mean, guys, this video was so compelling. I can be dissuaded or brought to the other side if the argument is strong. This video was well done, and it really shows how it's possible Littlefinger's not alive. I don't want to get into the theory right now. We can do a whole another live session on theory maybe middle of this week. I'll see, and if we do, I'll definitely put a schedule out there. Guys, hey, please like and subscribe to this video if you're really enjoying it. I want to get this out. I mean, Dustin and I love talking about this stuff. I love The Walking Dead too, where I do reviews on that. I want you guys to come back out and let's really get into these conversations, because this is just amazing cinema going on right now. I love cinema. Dustin, I know you're a huge fan of movies and most TV shows.
And sorry if we didn't get to your comment, guys. We had quite a few tonight. A lot more than we're used to. So apologize. We'll try to get to more next time. So keep them coming. We'll try to read through them too and see if there's anything else that we missed that we think is interesting.
Absolutely. And before we shut it down, because I know a few people are still chatting and so forth, Dustin, let's give speaking of number crunches, what are we giving this episode, man? Gosh, I mean, I don't want to get stupid.
I mean, it's a 9 solidly for me, at least.
I got it. Oh God. Okay, listen. Okay. All right, I'm not gonna give it a 10 because a 10 is like the ultimate.
Right,
guys. This is one of the best battles and tension builders I've seen in a long time. And if you're like, hey, Mr. Z-Man, Mike Sean, actually, your host. Have you seen them all? Well, no, I haven't seen them all, but I've seen a lot. And guys,
you have seen a lot.
I'm a minimum of 9.5, guys. A minimum of 9.5. Thanks for subscribing, Jessica. And it'll be great to have you back out and see you again, guys. This was a great episode. Okay, and I understand. I know some people sometimes like the battles that it doesn't do it for them. They need to see that drama. They need to see the backstabbing. But guys, this was an amazing battle. Holy shit! I'm still just reeling. I'm gonna be reeling over this thing next week. Minimum.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we gotta keep talking about this thing. It's just there's so much, and watching Jon's friends and some of the people turn on the field, even little Lyanna Mormont and stuff. I just, it just sucks so bad. But again, part of me kind of feels like I really hope, and I really, really hope that this storyline wasn't wasted off of Cersei and the final ending with the Game of Thrones. I do fully understand, guys, that it's the game, right? They're playing the game, and the Night King is not really the game, right? I mean, it doesn't feel like it. Right. But gosh dang, he was a force to be reckoned with, and I just felt this did end very abruptly. And so, I did give my score a little premature. If I were to deduct any points, I think it would be for I call it the premature ending of the Night King and the undead threat. That's I'll leave it at that.
I'm very interested to see where the next 3 episodes go, because like I said, this was the high for me. They're really gonna have to do something, I'd say, fairly unique and unexpected to really get me back to this level of hype that I was at for this episode.
I don't want to go like Lion King style, but the circle of life and so forth. But I feel that, like you said, the Night King and like those prophecies of that there will always be that king that was promised to come back. Well, if he's coming back, then that means, if full circle, guys, there has to be a Night King or some force that's going to bring back those undead. It just feels like that they can't just be gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't read enough of the books to truly understand how badly the Night King in the Dark was, defeated in the beginning. I don't think he was killed. I think he was just repelled back. But I don't know. Ooh, guys, it's just a lot to really get through.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got some scores going on here. We got
lots of 9s.
We got some 9s. We got Geo 7 out of 10. Who else we got? Oh, let's might as well talk it. We're already in the show. We're already talking predictions for episode 4. Ooh, guys. Ooh.
I have no idea.
I know, right?
I don't know.
Hey, thanks for putting us on the spot, jackass. No.
Well, I think that's where I'm at though. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously they're moving down to King's Landing.
They're going to King's Landing. So what do I foresee? I mean, we saw just a brief, spit of it, but looks like they're all toasting. They were happy that they won.
I mean, you have to have at least a night of celebration, right?
Celebration. I think they know their path. I mean, so far, the plan is going to plan, but it's going to get disrupted. Absolutely, it's going to happen. Yeah. And you know what? If that Golden Company, if they had those elephants, Dustin. I mean, we talked about this. Those elephants were very important to Cersei. It kind of.
And she really wanted those elephants.
It hurt me inside when she didn't get her elephants. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if any of you guys were hurt. I felt hurt when Euron was done banging her. I mean, she's just a total. By the way, I have mad respect for. And I forget her name. The actress who plays Cersei. She's been in so many. She played
Lena
Headey, yeah. I mean, she played Leonidas' wife in 300.
Yeah.
She's been in a bunch of cool ones throughout the days, and she plays this one to a T, and we cannot wait to see how she goes out. I call predictions on how she goes out, but we won't go anymore. As for other things, I mean, are they going to reach King's Landing and actually fight by the end of episode 4? That's a damn good question, guys. I wish I could say one way or the other. I would think they might get there, but I don't feel they're going to battle. But I'm just thinking to myself, I mean, Cersei, she's smug. What do you think, Dustin? I mean, I don't know.
No, they're not going to. I don't think they're going to reach King's Landing next episode. I think it's going to be a lot of post-Winterfell battle, kind of recuperating there from the Northern Front. And I think we're going to see a little bit more of Cersei's plans and kind of her plan unfolding a little bit more, her and Euron. And they're probably going to get word somehow that, they were successful, and they're going to start plotting here on kind of what they're doing. So,
sure.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any full-out battle. And I think we may see a twist somewhere. I don't know if it's next episode or if it's going to be episode 5, but there's going to be something that happens to kind of twist things around. And
we need it. I feel like
creative. Yeah.
I think we'd be missing something otherwise,
Yep.
I hope the writers can pull their shit together. I know they've done some kind of weak writing in the past, like seasons 5 and 6, I think, is what we're usually called out. But I hope they get their stuff together, because I know they met with Martin to talk about the end game and where it all goes. Connor, I want to say thanks for subscribing. I think you mentioned that you joined us. Thank you so very much, and for any of you others. Also, guys, just throwing it out there. I gotta hack up my own stuff. We have a zombie series out there actually on our channel. It's called Dead Nightmare. You may have come across it, but it's just a zombie series. It's very low budget, but it's our zombie series, and we've tried to do our best with the special effects, the makeup, and so forth. It's just a slow build, but that's my style, and that's what I love. I'm a big fan of the old 80s movies, and Dustin right here is actually an actor, and he comes in episode 5. There's 6 episodes for you to watch. I'm just saying, if you get a chance and you're bored and you're missing some Walking Dead, and no, you're not going to see some Steven Spielberg stuff. I wish you could, but guys, the people I have in these acting positions, they really try to do a good job for you. I do my best to bring you a cohesive story, and if you can make it to episode 6, there's some sinister things and stuff that kind of go down. down. So I'm just saying, if you get a chance, you might want to check it out if you like watching YouTube indies, which ours definitely is. That's Dead Nightmare. I also have www.deadnightmare.com. Go out there, you can check it out. There's links to all the episodes. So I even just started a Patreon account, which again, I'm not going to hack you guys up for money and so forth, but we are trying to sustain, because these things aren't cheap, and this show isn't cheap. I mean, you should see the camera gear I got. If I could, I ain't gonna do it, but if I could turn it around, you'd be like, damn, that's a legit camera. Not the one that we're using right now, but the one we actually video our stuff on. So, Dustin, I know you...
I've seen it. It's legit.
You've seen it, and you've enjoyed being a part of it. So,
I have.
And I think that's a big fun part of it, too. It's like, these are people that aren't true actors, but they get to come out and from their day jobs and enjoy and do something. Anyways, so yeah. I'll stop there. Gio says our zombie show is great. Hey, thanks, Gio. I've lost track of so many subscribers and actually who watches and who doesn't. So thanks so much and for coming back out. Anyways, is there any last things here, Dustin, you see in the comments we should talk on?
Not right now. I think I'm going to read through here and see what pops out at me, and we can talk about it maybe next time.
Sure. So guys, while we rifle through these, I'm going to start to say our adieus for now. But again, we are the Z-Man Show. We do zombies, movies, and more. I know some people are like, that's a dumbass premise. Well, you know what? It's my premise. And so if you don't like it, see you later. But this is what we do, guys. We talk our TV shows that we just love. We don't talk every TV show, but some of the cool ones and the big ones we do. We also talk movie reviews. I got to be honest, we weren't going to stream live. We're going to we just saw Endgame, Avengers Endgame. And you know what? I mean, we got a following right here. We might just go live just right after this. We wanted to talk it. We meant to do it on Friday after we saw the movie, but we didn't. So, guys, if you want to stick around, again, you want to subscribe, we're going to probably go live here in about 10 minutes tops, or maybe 15 tops, we'll say that. And we're going to talk Avengers Endgame. So we are going to be talking spoilers, though. So I'm just going to warn you, if you don't want to know what's going down, definitely steer clear. I don't want you to steer clear, but just wait. Or come back out and watch it after you've seen the movie and see if you agree. So, again, Dustin, if you have anything else, I guess...
Good, man.
I'm going to say we're heading off, guys. So, hey, thanks again so much for everybody that joined in. This is one of our biggest streams that we've ever had, and it's only like 120 people, but that's special to me, and I think it's special to Dustin as well that you guys came out to join us. Yeah. So, thanks again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you at the next episode of Game of Thrones.
Thanks, everyone.